Hello, viewers, and welcome to the latest episode of The Huddle. Tim Poole here, editor of Gambling Insider and Gaming America, and I'm with Tim Brooks, a fellow Tim. Welcome to The Huddle.
That's great.
General manager of the Emerald Island Casino and Rainbow Club Casino. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here, and we're ready to roll whenever you are.
Yeah, so as I say, it's a pleasure to have a fellow Tim on The Huddle. We've got some interesting things to talk about. To start off with, you're about a half an hour's drive away from the Las Vegas Strip. You're based in Henderson. You know, no disrespect, but lesser known perhaps around the world than the Vegas Strip. Maybe an easy starter for you, but a broad one. Why Henderson?
Henderson is the second largest city in the state of Nevada. It's a sister city to Las Vegas. So you could actually be in Las Vegas, drive across the street, and be in Henderson and not even realize you've left Las Vegas and the other way around. So that's why we chose Henderson. Henderson is one of the fastest growing cities in the nation, and it's also one of the safest cities in the nation. So there's a lot to do in Henderson, and being right next to Las Vegas, it presents a good opportunity for the gaming industry in Southern Nevada.
Mm-hmm. Las Vegas is going to come up for us a couple of times, perhaps as a reference point, but obviously, as you say, we're mainly going to be talking about Henderson and your properties. But I want to ask about your story as well, because really interesting kind of in researching this one. You know, you're a twin brother to start off with, but in 2001, you purchased a Pot of Gold's casino. All the way up until 2024, when you've sold the casinos. Now, walk us through that whole history, because it's a brilliant story.
Thank you. I'll be happy to share my story with you. Yes, you're correct. In 2001, my brother and I, Mike, my twin brother, as you mentioned, purchased the Pot of Gold Casino, where we are today here in Henderson, where I'm speaking from. The Pot of Gold closed in 2000, and we, like I said, purchased in 2001, went through extensive renovations, and we opened our door here as rebranded the Emerald Island Casino in May of 2023. We continue to operate the casino from 2023 until the beginning of 2024, when we actually sold the business. We also, during that time frame between 23 and 24, and 2003 and 2024 and 2019, we purchased our casino across the street from the Emerald Island called the Rainbow Club Casino, and that gave us two properties about 100 feet from each other. From 2019 and 2020 up until the time we sold until 2024. So when we first opened our doors at the Emerald Island in 2003, it was a new business for us, and we had to build our clientele one guest at a time. And slowly but surely, little by little, as the city of Henderson grew, we grew with the city of Henderson, and we promoted ourselves as Nevada's only all-penny casino, which means you can play any one of our slot machines. Over 400 slot machines at that time were at a 1 cent denomination or higher. And we did crazy things with marketing and promotions, and we just reached out to the community. We got very involved with the city of Henderson to promote not only our casinos, but the businesses in the area that we are located now. And one thing led to another, and it just worked out very well. And like I said, as the city grew, we grew with the city.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned some kind of crazy marketing promotions. What was the craziest?
We did a lot of everyday promotions. Back in 2003, casinos would have promotions, but they weren't every day. So we knew that people liked promotions, and we knew that people liked to play penny slots. So we decided that we're going to be Nevada's only all-penny casino, and we're going to have promotions every day. Henceforth, we came up with the tagline, the Emerald Island Casino, the jewel of Henderson, where every day is promotion day. And so people would come to see what was going on. And then we hired a wonderful team of employees. We had your most important asset in any service related industry is, of course, your team. Because without your team, you can't grow your business. So as our team grew and matured, and our customer base matured, and they became integrated, things just started to click, and we became very successful. And we were able to go out and get involved in the community, offer. You mentioned crazy promotions. We have all graveyard promotions, would be late night promotions, breakfast promotions, food, all kinds of gaming promotions that make it fun for the customer. We have a wheel of cash. So our number one priority was to service our guests and to make it fun for our guests. Because quite frankly, if you don't make it fun, there's really no reason why you would want to come to visit us. So we knew that we had to take care of our guests first, our employees first, of course, and that just kind of everything came together in a good way. and like I said, we became very successful, and we just are part of the community. And I was able to. We did sell the casinos, both of them in early 2024, and the new ownership team, who are great people to work for, retained me as a general manager. I wasn't quite ready to retire, so I get to stay in the game, have fun, and lead the team to our next venture, which will be an expansion of the Emerald Island Casino that we plan to begin early in 2026.
Okay, so plenty to look forward to, and I'm definitely going to ask you about getting customers through the door and keeping them coming in. But wanted to rewind a little bit because obviously we've touched on the fact that you run this business with your twin brother. Almost kind of looking at it from a personal perspective, what was it like firstly growing up as a twin? I mean, I know there are other twins out there, but it's quite a unique experience. And then at the same time, running a casino.
Well,
with a twin.
if you're a twin, I can tell you it's a special relationship. You're never alone. You're always, and growing up, you share I shared a bathtub with my brother, a bedroom. We did everything together. And then we decided to open a business together. So that was a challenge because we we know what buttons to push, and we know each other probably better than anybody else in the world. So it could be, working with family is not always the easiest thing in the world, but we made it work, and we made it work very well. And coming up with crazy promotions is one thing that we like to do. Not crazy, but just fun, entertaining promotions. So yeah, being a twin is quite an experience that it's hard to explain to anyone that isn't a twin. But anybody out there that's watching today or listening that is a twin, they will know exactly what I'm referring to.
Yep, makes a lot of sense.
Right.
So as we mentioned, half an hour drive from Las Vegas Strip. The global appeal of Vegas, we don't need to outline what it is. But looking at nearby areas, so kind of you've got Mesquite, where there's some kind of golf courses and golfing resorts. For Henderson, what is the kind of USP that brings a customer through that say, I fancy something a little bit different. Let me make that half an hour drive and come to one of your properties.
Yeah, well, Henderson there's 350,000 people that live in the city of Henderson. And the city of Henderson was a very well-planned community. It's full of parks, trails. I think we have over 100 parks in our city, and a trail system that extends out beyond reaches of the valley and then within the confines of the city. So there's a lot to do. It's actually the gateway to Lake Mead and the Hoover Dam. Hoover Dam was built in the 1930s, one of the greatest engineering feats that's ever occurred in the world. There's also a lot of wildlife preserves here in Henderson. There's a lot of good food, good restaurants. Henderson is a sleeper sleeper city when it comes to good food. There are a plethora of other casinos. There's not just the Emerald Island and the Rainbow Club. There are other great operators in our city. So there's always something good to do. There are a lot of entertainment choices. And like I mentioned earlier in the podcast, it's one of the safest cities in the world. It always scores high, or in the country, it always scores high ranks for being safe. It has a great police force, a good fire department, good city leadership that really takes ownership in the city and tries to do the right thing by its citizens. And so there are a lot of, and it's also one of the fastest growing cities in the nation. There are a lot of people that are moving from neighboring states. Our neighbor to the west, California. A lot of people are moving here because of a lot of reasons. Quality of life seems to be better here. Tax reasons. It's just a great place to live.
I mean, yeah, you've outlined a lot of good points there. When local residents and tourists when they when they get into Henderson, getting them through the door at your properties, you've talked already about the kind of strategies and marketing and promotions. But when they walk through the door, what are the kind of things you do to kind of retain those customers and keep them coming back? Not necessarily every day, but as regular patrons.
Well, that's a great question. So one thing that we always want to realize is that even though we're in the casino business, the gaming industry, first and foremost, we're in the service industry. So our number one priority is to always service our guests. And we have a common phrase that we use here: service never goes out of style. So we want to greet our guests. We want to make sure that we have a first impressions committee, that when people pull up, the building looks clean, Everything's nice and neat and order, and that's your first impression. Another first impression will be, how are you greeted when you walk through the building? Because that's half the battle. When you greeting people and welcoming them into your house, so to speak, is very important. You want to make them feel comfortable. We offer a wonderful food product. Our gaming product as well is one of the best selections of slots that you'll see anywhere in the world, we believe. We always try to refresh our floor, keep things fresh. But like I said, but the one thing that we do is we treat everybody like family. And I know that's a cliche that a lot of businesses will use, but it's very important that our team is engaged with our customers, make them feel at home, and services them to the best of our ability.
In terms of the casino floor, you described your slot selection. Are there any products that are particularly trending with customers at the moment, or are there any providers or suppliers that have kind of really stood out to you in the last couple of years?
Yeah, there are a lot of new games from a lot of manufacturers. I would say there's an Australian company by the name of Aristocrat. I'm sure that many of our listeners today or viewers are familiar with Aristocrat. Their games are doing very well. They're very popular. There's also games from ITT, International Game Technology, Video Poker, Video Reels, Video Kino. Light and Wonder is another one of our vendors. So the manufacturers are constantly coming up with new themes for our video reel slots. And so there's always something happening. We try to keep our floor as fresh as possible, and our customers really appreciate that. And to answer your question, yeah, we work with several manufacturers to keep our floor fresh. We also offer wonderful food products, and it's very important. If you're going to invite someone to your house to eat, you want it to be good, and we make sure that our food is good.
Yeah, interesting kind of, I guess, takeaway there for maybe providers and manufacturers looking to break through, because obviously the ones you named are the big players that are popular in a number of casinos. So anyone looking to challenge them is got to raise their game, I guess.
Yes, but there's always room, and there's always room for innovation. There's always room for someone to come into the market and have a shot. So we not only, I know I mentioned the big three, but we deal with several slot vendors, slot manufacturers here. So there's plenty of room for everybody. I do believe. Now, of course, you're not going to get the lion's share like the Aristocrats, or the Light Wonders, or the IGTs get, but they started off small one time, and they made it. So there's no reason why other slot manufacturers can't do the same.
Yeah, absolutely. So I wanted to ask about I guess a wider topic of conversation at the moment, and again it links back to Las Vegas, because there's been some discussion, in sort of recent months about perhaps a falling tourism, some numbers going down in Las Vegas for an area like Henderson and properties like yourself. Is that maybe an opportunity to people maybe seeing prices up on the strip, and they might be looking for a different offering? Or is it a case of if Nevada as a whole, kind of it all works together?
Yeah, I was on the strip 2 weeks ago on a Saturday night, and I didn't really see a difference in where I was. The casino property that I visited was quite busy, looked like they were doing quite well. I think that probably during the week their numbers have fallen, and they're going to make adjustments to whatever they feel they need to do to get their business levels back to where they want them to be, if they're not there already. As far as the suburbs where we are in Henderson, we cater primarily to local clientele. And so as the strip goes, we go to a certain extent because a lot of our guests work on the strip, or are related to gaming companies on the strip and make their living there. So yeah, we always want the strip to do well. We want the big casinos to do well because it has a ripple down effect into where we are in Henderson. But we haven't seen an adverse effect like has been reported on the strip. And quite frankly, when I drive down the strip, I don't see it. So if the numbers have diminished somewhat, it's you can't notice it to me from the naked eye. However, I know that they do their forecasting. From what I understand, with convention business and things of that nature, the future looks quite bright for the Las Vegas Strip. So I think it's just a natural downturn that you're going to see from time to time. Is there value? I think they're looking at what kind of value they can offer to give better value to the guests, like we do here in Henderson. A lot of our small local casinos do offer value. So I think that I think the big strip properties are taking a hard look at their model right now, and they're making adjustments. And I have all the confidence in the world that they'll be able to, you know, buck the trend, buck the so-called trend that they're seeing now, and make a strong comeback and even grow the business here in Southern Nevada.
Interesting. Yeah, you said Las Vegas always reinvents itself, and that's certainly true. I was going to ask you, which is, I guess, related to a degree, about the Las Vegas Grand Prix. In November, obviously, we've had a couple of renditions. We've certainly had one. I think we've had two already. For a second there, I've forgotten when the first one was.
Good.
But we've got so it's the third one coming up soon. How does that impact kind of Henderson business at all? You know, is that because more people are there for the Grand Prix, it goes up, or if you're catering more to locals, is it more that just maybe there's more traffic in the build-up?
It hasn't affected our business one iota. We didn't see an upturn. We didn't see a downturn. Of course, we're not in the central part of where the race or the activities take place. I think that the first year was a bit tenuous with some operators in the Grand Prix, but they've all gotten together and they've talked it out, and they've made good strides. And I think last year's race was much more well received by a lot of people here in town. And now I know this year they're offering a lot of specials and discounts for locals to get the community involved. So they figured it out. So I have all the confidence in the world that the Las Vegas Grand Prix is here to stay, and it's going to be a big success, and it's going to put Las Vegas even further on the map for as we grow and we move forward.
Yeah. So we've talked a lot about current issues, and you know, you walked us through some interesting points in kind of past history, especially for yourself and the property. So if we were to sit down now and let's say we've got a future Tim Brooks and a future Mike Brooks, or they don't have to be twins necessarily, but they're coming through, and they're looking at the Nevada landscape, or even just gaming in the US in general. From everything that you've experienced and your kind of key lessons, what advice would you have for a future generation of potential gaming executives?
I would say, don't forget what you do. Don't forget that you're here to service your guests. Don't forget that your guests are your number one priority. Make sure you take care of your guests. If you want them to come back, you have to treat them well. Pay attention to the trends. Pay attention to what's going on. But number one, never lose sight of what really makes your business, and that's your customer.
No, absolutely. That sounds very sound advice. But if I could even push it a little further, how easy is it to lose sight? And could you even look back and think, one or 2 points, you know, maybe we did and we had to realign?
Well, in business, there's always going to be issues in business, and they can be small, they can be big. But if you don't address them, a small issue, pretty soon it becomes a big issue. And there's a lot of little things that go on in any business. And each day you're going to run into something new. You're going to have to deal with something, or you're going to have to make a move to reinvent yourself, or make a move to change course. Don't be afraid to admit you made a mistake. Don't be afraid to change things, because if you don't, you're going to fail. But always remember that what seems like a little problem, if you don't address it, will grow and will morph into a big problem. And all the little problems will add up, and all of a sudden it gets out of hand. So stay on top of your business. Listen to what your customers are saying, and probably just as important, even not more important, listen to what your team's telling you, because they're the ones that are out there really grinding it out, and they're the ones that are paying attention and listening to what your guests are saying, what your customer base is saying. And don't be afraid to make decisions. Don't be afraid to try something. And number one, don't be afraid to admit you made a mistake, because I think what a lot of operators do is they let their ego get in the way and never want to admit they made a mistake. But that's the worst thing you can do. It's okay to try something, and it's okay to fail, but keep trying.
Yeah, no, that's very sound advice indeed, and hopefully, I'm sure our viewers can take a lot away from that. From Tim to Tim, from London to Henderson, thanks very much for your time. I really enjoyed speaking with you, and best of luck with everything you guys are looking to achieve for the rest of the year and beyond.
It's been a pleasure to talk to you today, and wish you all the best of luck. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks very much. And to our viewers, thanks for watching, and see you next time as well.